Yes, people, what is going on? We are back. Formula One is back, people, and welcome to Peter on Pole. We're here to discuss the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix for 2024. Formula One's had a bit of a break after the heroics of Mr. Lando Norris. And I tell you what, first thing I must say, I totally forgot we were not in Imola last year. 2023 did not have the Imola Grand Prix, and I'm a bit surprised. But of course, the flooding that took place last year meant we could not have a Grand Prix at Imola. Now, we're back, 2024, a circuit that, if you're a McLaren fan out there, your boy Mr. Lando Norris likes this circuit, okay? After his maiden win that took place in the Miami Grand Prix, listen, we cannot stop talking about it. And you better believe we'll be mentioning him, I'm sure, at this stage. But of course, people, we talk all things Formula One here. And this is the time to have your say. I want to hear your predictions. I want to hear your preview of the 2024 Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. My goodness, that's a mouthful. Whatever happened to the San Marino Grand Prix, people? Some of you who are old school will remember that's what this circuit was really known as. But listen, like I said, have your say. Have your say, ladies and gents. And just like Alex has done in the comment section, we got Alex the Oracle says, hello, Peter. Hope you're doing well, my guy. Hope you're very, very well. Adam Heddle, what's going on? He says, good evening, Peter. Good evening to you too. Adam, hope you're good. Let me know your predictions ahead of the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. Alex says, before anything, I want to mention how crazy it is that Hulk has never been to Imola in his career. Astonishing scenes. When I found that out, I thought, my goodness, wait, he's never? Like, how has he dodged this one? But of course, you know, the San Marino Grand Prix, as it was formerly known, hasn't been in Formula One for such a long time. It's been a hot minute since we've had it raced there. And I think, of course, you know, the time it came back, Hulkenberg was not in a car. He wasn't in a seat. You know, this guy was doing reserves, you know, number 2 drivers when people were ill. So yeah, it's been a crazy one. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Adam says Ferrari versus McLaren fight for win on Sunday. I tell you what, if you've been watching any of the practice, I haven't really watched it into detail as such, but I know that Red Bull are frustrated. If there's one thing I know, they are frustrated. And so who knows? Who knows what this could mean? Now, of course, this circuit has its history. People love the circuit. It is a really cool racing circuit, but of course it comes with its history as well in terms of scenes that we don't like to see, of course. And of course, it's the anniversary. 30 years, people. Okay, 30 years for, let me start off with Roland Ratzenberger. Okay, make sure I get that name correctly because I've just said his name a few times. But of course, he passed away. I think it was in qualifying of that race weekend, the same weekend in which Ayrton Senna died as well. 30 years, people, since the death, and look at how at least Ayrton Senna is fondly remembered. Of course, you know, a genius driver. Unfortunately, I was not able to see the man race. Let me know in the comment section, did you get to see Ayrton Senna race at all? Are you old enough to remember him race? Of course, we've seen highlights and things of that nature, but you know, we can't go to Imola and not think about the 2 people that have passed away, icons, and you know, you're a legend if you've raced in Formula One, and especially if you've passed away, you know, that status goes even higher. But for Roland and for Ayrton, you know, it's a tough one, of course, for the families, but you know, it's been a bit of a celebration. Sebastian Vettel's done a little thing this weekend where he's even had all these shirts with the Senna sort of colors on them, you know, as a tribute to him, as well as even the balaclavas as well. So you'll be seeing the balaclavas being worn by the drivers of I almost call him Sir Ayrton, and Ayrton's colors of yellow, blue, and green, of course, representing Brazil and that lot. Dreas says, hey, you. What's going on? Hope you're good. Not really a prediction fan, but here, anyways. Listen, it's a pleasure to have you on. Okay, it's a pleasure to see that you are there. McLaren look unironically fastest. Well, let's see. Alex says, I wish they'd done more for Roland. I know what you mean. Like, it doesn't, like, I do feel a bit uncomfortable. Like, I love the whole history about Senna and everything like that, and, you know, let it have its place and whatnot. But yeah, I'm with you. I do feel a bit, it's almost like Roland is only mentioned just as like and by the way, we are aware of Roland as well, which, you know, it's not that great now, you know, how much of a, you know, popular figure he was. doesn't matter really. We remember, of course, Jules Bianchi, and Antoine Hubert. These are the people that are there who have sacrificed for us, us Formula One fans, us racing fans, and they should be given the same respect, I think. I don't like how unequal the treatment between the two drivers have felt. Yeah, I'm with you. You know what? I'm with you. And some people will have their opinions on that. I am with you on this one, Alex. I'm definitely with you in regards to that. But yes, as I say, we cannot talk about Emilia Romagna without talking about these two people. But of course, we're here to do a prediction for the Formula One Grand Prix. Glad to have it back. First Grand Prix in Europe as well. Like, some things are just hitting me where I'm like you said earlier about the Nico Hulkenberg first time at Imola. It's our first European race of the season. We didn't have Imola last year. All these little things, I'm just very much like, this is kind of crazy. But let's get into the predictions. We'll start things off with qualifying. And so the question is, who will be on pole position? Now, I've had to think long and hard. Okay, a few teams are bringing upgrades. A few teams have points to prove. Drivers have points to prove. And I don't know what it is. I haven't really got any inkling as to why I'm feeling this way. But my gut instincts, and this is what I'll give you, is my gut feeling, is that Charles Leclerc will be on pole. And because I think maybe for the fact that Ferrari are said to be bringing big upgrades, so maybe Ferrari are doing something here. At the same time, I'm sure Charles has got a point to prove. When you look at this season, right, and if you think, Sebastian Vettel, Max Verstappen is going to be cleaning up house, taking pole positions, race wins, so on and so forth. When the opportunity is there or arises, who will be taking those spots? Who will be qualifying on pole? Who will be winning races? And when you think that people like Carlos Sainz have won a race, when you think of Lando Norris now has won a race, if you're a Charles Leclerc, or even a Sergio Perez person or fan, you got to ask yourself, what am I doing? What am I doing that these other guys are jumping onto that I don't seem to capitalize on? And so I think I have a feeling like we need to go down the Leclerc route, because I think not a lot of attention has been paid towards him. And sure, you got to earn your airtime. We're going to be talking about you, it's because you've done something. So surely, if you've done something, then we can go from there. So for me, Charles Leclerc, strangely, let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Who's going to be on pole position? It's interesting. Adam says, don't want to jinx McLaren, so I'm going to go Leclerc. Hey, nice and safe. I understand what you're saying, but obviously I know deep down what you're feeling there. So yeah, Leclerc for the lack of jinxing McLaren. I understand that. Alex says Leclerc on pole. Leclerc on pole. Max P2, Norris P3, and Piastri P4. I mean, that would be a nice little mix there. That could be very, very interesting. It's a narrow circuit, so there's not a lot of overtaking, in that sense. But nonetheless, it's a good combination of drivers. You've got a Ferrari, you've got a Red Bull, and you've got two McLarens. It should be very, very interesting. Omar, hope you're doing well. Shout out to Omar Hossein, who says, I think Leclerc and Norris on the front row. Listen, I can understand. I totally see you on that. Omar. Norris is not going to just let that race win last time out be like the be all and end all. And don't forget as well, Piastri. So Alex has put Piastri in the top 4. Piastri is going to have the full upgrade that Norris had from Miami. So who knows what Oscar could do in that situation? But yeah, people are the Leclerc doesn't seem that crazy. So okay, I see the people here. Dre says it's not easy, but it's not easy to put a clean lap together. Here, I'm thinking Charles 2, Lando, Max, Oscar, Carlos. Oh, very interesting. You guys are going very, very interesting with the predictions. But it seems like Leclerc is not too shabby. We got Jay Starship. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're good. Leclerc looks good. Piastri looks good as well. Jay goes on to say, so maybe P2 for him. Could you imagine Leclerc and Piastri front two? That would be very, very interesting, I must admit. You guys are flying in with the comments. Make sure you do smash a like on the video as well. If you like Formula One content like this, if we're liking, talking about Formula One and predicting what's going to be happening ahead of the race weekend, then please, let's do so. Alex says, I'm going to say it now, unless something bad happens for McLaren. I'm saying Norris back to back. We'll get to the race prediction, Alex. Let's slow down here. Let's pump the brakes. We'll get to that prediction right there. And then Omar says, look, Oscar's going to be in P3, Max P4, Sainz P5. I tell you what, That's interesting. That's interesting. People, if you know what is good, if you know what is right, do me a favor. Smash a like on the video and make sure you subscribe to this channel right here. McLaren Fan TV with my co-host, of course, Mahad from the Pit Stop Fracker. I hope you're doing well. Man says the legend. Listen, appreciate you. Thank you very much for joining. Yeah, double axe, people, double axe. Alex says if Norris puts a clean lap in quali and nothing goes wrong in the race, and I think it will happen. Interesting scenes. Yeah. So pole position for me, I think, will be Charles Leclerc this week. And let's wait and see what happens in that. Let's talk about the podium then, shall we? We're not going to give the race winner just yet. The race winner is coming up next. But in terms of on the podium, P2, P3, I have an interesting feeling. I've got an interesting feeling about this one. And I think Max Verstappen will be there. I think he will be there. And I think more so, he will be P2. I got Max Verstappen in P2 for the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix because I just think, like, from what I've seen in practice, like the glimpses we've seen from practice, the man is not happy in this Red Bull. And I wonder, now, don't get me wrong, maybe we're getting ahead of ourselves here. You know, we've seen a McLaren win. A McLaren win can do all sorts of things to you. It can make you go crazy, okay? It can make you lose your mind. But maybe Red Bull are still serious. Like, should we not sleep on them? Because it feels like we're sleeping on them. And especially the way the media is going on as well. I've been watching, you know, the F1 show and even the weekend warm up on Formula One. And, you know, they're not ruling out Red Bull, but they seem to suggest that other teams have caught up or are catching up to Red Bull. And I sort of wonder, you know, bear in mind, McLaren's had a big upgrade, okay? So you're expecting to see some progression. They say Ferrari's got a massive upgrade as well this weekend. Again, we expect to see some progression. We know that Red Bull have had an upgrade of some sort, but maybe there might be something else that they're hiding in there. I want to dream. I want to dream, believe me. But the more I keep hearing the talk, the more that's making me peel back a little bit and think, well, hang on a minute. Let's not fall for it, guys. Let's not get delusional, okay? Red Bull are serious, man. They're still there. They're still there. So for me, Max Verstappen will be number 2. And P3, I'm going to go Carlos Sainz because I think something is going to happen rather to Charles Leclerc. The streak will continue with the pole to not win conversion, if that makes sense. I think something is going to happen. Okay? Carlos Sainz, P3, Max Verstappen, P2. Let's see what you guys have said in the comment section as well. Max Lando. Okay, so we're going to go P2 is Max and P3 is Lando is what I'm taking from Adam's comment here. Alex says off the podium, Max will not be there. Max Verstappen not being on the podium. I tell you what, I'll be delighted if that's the case. Omar says Max P2, Oscar Piastri P3. So a lot of you guys are not even going to go for the race win for Max Verstappen. That is interesting to me. I want to say it's crazy, but I like it. I like the prediction. I like the boldness. Maybe a P3 for Max Verstappen. I'm saying Leclerc, Oscar 2 and 3, says Alex the Oracle. And listen, when the man predicts, he's not far off. Okay, we have learned this from McLaren Fan TV channel where this man predicts things. That's why it's called the Oracle. We gave him that title because he was saying things from one end of the season and it was coming to fruition at the other end of the season. So listen, Alex, I'm gonna be paying close attention to that prediction. Jay Starship says, ever since Newey announced he's leaving, it seems like Red Bull are not quite the same. That's fair, that's fair. But I wonder, man. We could have a great season, guys. We could have an absolutely phenomenal season in 2024. Drea says, same podium like in Miami, but I really can't predict in which order. Okay, so we are going to have... I even forgot the podium in Miami, I must admit. Norris is all I care about. And, of course, Verstappen, I think, was there. Was it Charles Leclerc? Like, if someone can remind me, because right now I'm just like, where even am I? Listen, when Lando Norris wins a race, when a McLaren driver wins a race, guys, don't expect me to have the details of everything else, because there's no point. I am on cloud 9, dancing in the rain, okay? And listen, there was some rain happening up in Imola the other day. Let's see what happens. Oscar P4 says, Drea, would love that. Love to see Oscar in P4. I'd absolutely love that. McLaren Fan TV says, we are leaving with the win. A McLaren driver is going to win the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. Watch this space, people. You guys are predicting crazy out here. Alex says, I don't think teams have caught up. I just think that the RB looks like it's not in the right window right now. And I don't know how they'll find it. Yeah, that's a fair point. Very, very good point there. There's something going on, isn't there? It's not all straight and narrow. And don't get me wrong, they were having stuff behind the scenes that was going on off circuit where still they were producing race wins. Still, they were still dominant and doing their thing. But now it's like as the dust is settling and everything else, Newey leaving, of course, can't be great. This man's a genius. And then I hear today, that he's deciding that he wants to be back in Formula One. So was the idea that he was retiring from Formula One and then has sort of changed his mind? It doesn't quite seem, where he goes. I mean, some team is going to be very, very, very lucky. McLaren Fan TV saying, listen, Newey might be back in Woking. I would bite your hand off. I would bite your hand off to see Adrian Newey back home, back where he belongs. Omar says, when Max drives in anger, he makes mistakes. He's not happy, is he? He's not happy at the minute. The Red Bull mist is in Max's face. You're absolutely right, Omar. There's something not quite right there. Have you seen the Oyster Club interview? No, I haven't. It's on my watch list. I need to go and watch that and give that a butcher's. I will do indeed. Alex saying Leclerc P3 was in Miami. Okay, yep, so it was P3. My prediction hinges on Red Bull finding that window and Lando having a clean quali and race. Yeah, I know. We need some clean races for the McLaren people out here, okay? Who knows what kind of Mexican minister of attack will get into turn one. I mean, I'll tell you what, Checo, yeah? We need you to stay on the track. We don't need you to cause a calamity. If you want to cause a calamity, just make sure it doesn't hurt McLaren, okay? That's the main thing. Guys, something is happening at Mercedes, says Hussein. Hussein, what do you reckon? What do you think's happening at Mercedes? Let me know. Let us know in the comment section what you think is going on. Good or bad? Because I think they had a decent practice, didn't they? They've looked okay. But that's the thing with Mercedes. I've seen them say one thing one day, and in the same race weekend, they're just like, wait, where did that car go? Where's that feeling gone? This is the best car in the world. This is the worst car in the world. That's how I kind of feel a little bit with Mercedes. The moment the new year has been excluded from any Red Bull meetings, they fell apart. New year has been excluded. Okay, interesting. So that's what's been going on at Red Bull. Look at you guys, huh? Look at you guys with the knowledge. This brain drain at Merck is unreal. J Starship saying, hey, leave Mercedes out of this. They look okay right now. Let's leave them be. They're okay on a Friday. But where it matters most, of course, Sunday, but then a little bit of Monday. Saturday. What am I talking about? Hussein says, I think Mercedes power teams are coming up. Newey, in terms of still, they've excluded Newey from the meetings. They've fallen apart. Wow, it's crazy scenes. And this is the good thing about Formula One. There's a lot to talk about, people. When people think it's boring, what's the matter with you? Now, guys, my race winner. You guys have said it. You guys have mentioned it as well. And I'm high off the juice. Let me be real. I'm high off the papaya juice. Whatever it is, the Rubicon packet, whatever the version it is that McLaren are whipping up right now. I'm high off the fumes, people. And yes, Lando Norris will be your race winner at the 2024 Emilia Romagna Grand Prix, the San Marino Grand Prix for you old school heads, the Imola GP, if you will, for the lack of a better of saying the whole thing. But yes, Lando Norris will be your race winner. Back-to-back race wins, as Alex has mentioned here, people. So Lando Norris, not only the first race win, but the second one. He loves Imola. He loves this circuit. He's always performed well. How many podiums has this man got at this circuit? Okay, the guy is brilliant. And if the weather is tricky, like it sometimes is in Imola, I think it's working. Alex says Merck can celebrate winning a free practice constructors championship. Adam says, like I say, not jinxing it. So Leclerc, he says Leclerc's going to win. We know what that means. Adam. We know what you're talking about. Hussein says, in terms of aero, which Mercedes power team is the superior? In terms of aerodynamics, which team is the superior one? Aero. Hmm. Hmm. That's a good question. That's a good question you're saying. If I was to go off the bat, I'd say McLaren at this moment in time because McLaren's issues haven't been kind of error related as such. It's a tough one though. It's a tough one though because the Martins are good. Williams, you don't really know what the Williams is, and that's the thing with their car. But yeah, Mercedes, like Mercedes don't know what's wrong with Mercedes, so I can't even discuss how good their aero is if it is any good. You think it would be, but yeah. If McLaren can continue these upgrades, then RB title challenge may not be far off. I know. We got to have at least three, maybe 2-3 wins this season for McLaren, and then we can really say, do you know what? This is the second best team. You hear Lando Norris saying that he thinks McLaren is still the third best, and I like that. Keep that pessimistic Lando Norris produces results. Oh, I don't mind having it. I don't mind having that. Drea says, yes, no jinxing, but I'd love to see it again and him proving all the maniacs out there that are wrong. Be careful, guys. Protect yourselves. McLaren fans, protect yourselves of the maniacs. They are everywhere, okay? They are everywhere on social media, so protect yourself. 2-3 podium rate, including one one in the 2022 car. Yeah, so this is the in terms of how often McLaren have got into the podium. Lando Norris, anyway. Yeah, absolutely. Back-to-back first and second win like Mika Hakkinen. Yes, indeed, Mahad. Indeed. Hussein says this year could be McLaren's RB 2020 year. I hear you. You see that right there? That's what I hope this is. At the very least. We need a Piastri win. Listen, Piastri will come. Piastri's winning a race this season, by the way. Spoiler alert. He's winning a race some way, somehow this season. It could be here in Imola. You never know. Indeed. Okay, people, ones to watch. Who should we be looking at this race weekend? And when I say this, I mean driver and team. And this could be good or bad. Now, in terms of the teams, we'll start off with the good. The ones to watch, I think, are probably Ferrari because they're bringing up these upgrades. So I'm wondering what will it look like on the circuit? What are they actually saying this race weekend? Okay, because it could be a good one, but then it might be a flop, and so we don't know. But at the same time, I'm paying attention to what's going on over at Ferrari, seeing what these upgrades are really, really saying. Okay, now in terms of the driver, who am I looking interested in? Who am I looking forward to? I think I've got to have a look at Piastri in the new upgrade in the full upgrade that McLaren have given. There are so many drivers to choose from. There's so many things to think about. I mean, look, Alex Albon's just renewed his contract with Williams, which I think is an interesting take. James Vowles' comments as well regarding Logan Sargent, very, very peculiar. Yuki Tsunoda has been phenomenal this season. And, can he continue dunking on Danny Ricciardo? What is Danny Ricciardo saying? What is the RB saying? So there's so many things to think about there. But I want to see what Piastri is doing with the full upgrade at McLaren. And I want to see what Ferrari are doing with their upgrades, period. That's kind of where I'm at. In terms of the ones to watch out, because I feel like, oh boy, this could be harem scarum. I think I'm struggling here. I am struggling a little bit here. But I guess Red Bull to just see, like, is what happened in Miami, was that just a one-off? Or is there foundation to this? Is there something more than what meets the eye regarding Red Bull? So I'd have an eye on them. I've got my eye on Red Bull. Yeah, I've got my eye on Red Bull for this race weekend. And in terms of, in terms of who I'm looking at, where I think, if he doesn't pick it up, then we need to have a conversation. And that would be, for me, it's a toss-up between Kevin Magnussen and Logan Sargent. I'm not entirely sure who, but I will go just Logan Sargent, because the way James Vowles was talking about Sargent, it was so odd. If anyone who's watched it, Sky Sports News had like a quick chat with Vowles, and Vowles was sort of like, obviously off the heels of extending Alex Albon's contract, they were talking about Logan Sargent. What do we think? And Vowles is sort of, publicly has said, Sargent needs to improve, and I want to help him improve. I want to be there with him and be there for him. I want to see him improve. and he knows that there are things he needs to improve on, and if he doesn't, we are looking at other drivers. And I was sitting there like, can you say that? You know, maybe it's safe to, because Logan, maybe his contract ends at the end of the season, so you know, what's the harm here? No harm, no foul. But it was strange because you don't really get teams talk up. Now, I may have misunderstood it. Maybe I've missed, because I tried to listen to it back, and it just felt like, no, you know what? We're looking at other drivers, by the way, for this Logan seat, which I thought was crazy to admit, to put out there. Let me know if you not heard it. Let me know if maybe I've got it completely wrong, but it sounded extremely, extremely odd. Let me see what you guys are saying in terms of who you think the ones to watch out for this weekend. Before that, Alex says, I'm actually kind of glad Norris won his first race in Miami. Of course, it's in Miami. I'm very fond of the fact that both Norris and Bruce McLaren won their first race in Florida. Oh, it's in the details, isn't it? It's in the details. Adam says Sonoda and VCarb. So that's who you're looking at this weekend. Yeah, you're looking to see, and there's quite a few of you. Even Hussein is saying, you know, Sonoda as well. Sonoda, yeah, definitely. Listen, he's had a great start to the season. This guy said, listen, I've had enough. I've had enough of being potential, and you know, sometimes the Suzuki coin now has to invest. It has to invest now. Alex says Hulkenberg and Sonoda. I'm saying, yeah, fair enough, definitely. Hulkenberg, I guess, because it's his first time. How weird is that? It's his first race here, so we'll see how he gets on. And of course, Hulkenberg, you know, I forgot to even mention, he's signing with Audi next season, which is quite like the driver market. We need to have a conversation about that separately. I'll do a stream on that. But the driver market is crazy, absolutely crazy. There's a lot to discuss there. There's a lot to discuss. Haas have infinite straight line speed. Looking at the data, Hulk could do a little thing here. You never know. Yeah, you never know. Haas have looked pretty impressive, by the way. You know, Ayo Komatsu said, you know, we are at the back. There's nothing else to talk about here in terms of prediction for the season. We're at the back. And then look at them. They're doing all right. They're doing all right. Very much impressed. I mean, the season is long, you know, it's a marathon, but still impressed by what they're doing at the moment in time. Drea says Ferrari's upgrades seem to be good. RB is only interesting in qualifying, and the race pace was off. So, yeah, you know, you can't work out RB, can you? You just can't just yet. Anyway, it's still early in the season, or early enough, where we're going to see who are they? Who is the real RB? You know, will the real RB please stand up? And as you say, the upgrades seem to be good. Let's see what Ferrari do get up to. It could be very interesting, because as much as, you know, McLaren was so good, it's so impressive in Miami, we cannot sleep on the fact Ferrari are still here. Ferrari, I mean, Sainz won a race after an operation. You know, like, there's something in that car too. So, and of course, Sainz is a good driver. Where he goes as well, the driver market is crazy. Anyway, another episode. We'll talk about that. Hussein says, I'm tired of these Haas boys entering the chat, man. Leave these man to do their terrorism, says Hussein. He's not having the Haas talk. Listen, like, we got to see. Look, they've got a different team principal now, and maybe things will be a little bit more serious than it was before. We have to wait and see. Honestly. Drea says Red Bull will be interesting. Today was very messy. Question is if they can get it together overnight. I'd still not be bet against them. Why would you? But it will be very interesting. Not good for my heart rate. I know. Because the idea or the thought that Red Bull might be falling down, honestly, will send us into it will send the whole Formula One world, unless you're a Red Bull fan, into jubilation. And I don't know if we're ready if we can hack that. Don't know if we're ready for it yet. But listen, it's going to be a very interesting race this weekend. I like what you guys are saying in terms of who the ones to watch are, because that's always the bit where, you know, where will the interesting story come from? Where will the story that will blow your mind come from? Where's the one that will make you, you know, shocked? But yeah, Sainz will outperform Leclerc. Carlos Sainz will outperform. Why can't I say that quickly? Sainz will outperform Leclerc, says Hussein. He has to make a statement. He's been making statements, by the way. He's been making them statements so far. So yeah, long may it continue. Adam says Sainz appendix removed, one in Australia. Lando nose cut, one in Miami. Piastri has a cut on his knee. Could he win? Of course, yeah, the actual nose car. I know we did race winner already, but just sprung to my mind here. Listen, Adam, if Oscar can get a race win here in Imola, I don't know what I'll do with myself. I don't know what I would do. Back-to-back race wins for McLaren, back-to-back with different drivers. Don't know how I could handle it. Don't know what I would actually do in that situation. Honestly, I like the way you think, though. I like the way you think. Hussein says Lewis should have pulled up in a red helmet for the Tifosi. Yeah, well, we got to wait another year for that, unfortunately. Drea says Ferrari and McLaren are really close. It will be circuit specific and a question about driver and team errors. Yeah, absolutely. We've got a season on our hands, I think, you know, and if you're not enjoying it now, then not sure what will make you enjoy it for the rest of the season. But whilst Red Bull are in a bit of this weird space, guys, drink it in. Okay, drink it in. We need to be discussing and talking about the excitement that there is in Formula One. And don't forget, you know, this is the race weekend where it's actually got practice 1, 2, and 3. And then we've got quali, and then it's a bit more of a calmer pace, back to normal a little bit. The sprint weekends are just 100 mile an hour, and I just feel like, man, I can't catch up, I can't keep up. There's this, that, and the other. But hey, listen, when it's a race weekend like this, I thought, let me get back onto the channel and bless you guys, because you guys bless me every single time with your comments. And that is the prediction of the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix 2024. Formula One is good. It is back. It is great. And until next time, people, I'll see you post race. Okay, we'll do a race review as well on this, potentially on Monday. Potentially, depends on what's going on in other sports at the moment in time. But until then, people, it is lights out. Peace.